OBS. Boom, 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 boom. Mic check. Hopefully this works. Hopefully that stuff works, guys. Hey, welcome, first person on the stream. You are the first person on the stream. Welcome. I just started. What's up, Shudham? Yo, I know you. I know y'all. I don't know Shubham, but welcome to the stream. I am back. Like I said, I promise y'all, I'm back. Because we have something very special to build today. And we're gonna be putting clock code on a virtual machine, hitless. Yo, here, let me try to read your name right. Takashi Gary Nanao. Nice to meet you. Where are you based out of? Put it in chat. Are you like? I'm assuming you're calling it from Japan, but I don't want to assume. But yeah, let me know. Okay, so it's Saturday. Not Saturday. What am I saying? It's Sunday, and I want to pick back up what we talked about last time, and then jump right into it. Oh, you're based in the UK. That's awesome. How's the weather? And I actually want to go to London later this year. So if we're not connected, I'll send you my LinkedIn. Just look me up. My name is just Hi. This is my name. Look me up on LinkedIn. We'll get connected. Maybe we can meet up, stuff like that. But thank you guys for joining today. Yesterday, we talked about a couple of ideas of why we would want to put cloud code into a VM or a cloud virtual machine. And, you know, this is the main reason why we want to do it, right? You want to be able to text a agent and then have that agent do some code stuff for us. Obviously, there are products out there that do this. For example, Devin. For example, Cursor Agent. You can not text it, but like send messages to it on Slack now. But we want to build ourselves and open source it so the community can learn from this and understand this emerging pattern. So, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and then somebody pointed out that, hey, if you let anybody text a number and then that number allows the person to manipulate the code base, and it's probably not a good idea. It's probably better to keep it to a close group of some kind so that not anyone can just mess it up. So we ended up with this prompt right here, not prompt, but this like kind of requirement for our product right here. Users in our Discord should be able to send a message to this bot, and it'll do stuff to a designated code base. Okay. And then I think we also agree that first we wanted to be able to kind of read a code base first, and then be able to create PRs later on, aka write code and then push code up to a branch, try to merge that to the code base. Essentially, all we're trying to do is that a way to trigger putting Claw on a VM? And yeah. Now I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, so in order for this to happen, right? Not talking about cost right now, because obviously cost could be an issue, right? Unless I let you guys put in your own keys, and then the cloud on the VM will use that API key instead. You know what? I think that might be the way. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, let me draw this out. This is how our application is gonna work. Okay, so we got user right here. Where's my person block? User. Okay, I gotta share my screen actually. What am I doing? Window. You see what I mean? I just found this perfect representation of our user. They will not do the things that we expect them to do. But as a user, what's gonna happen is, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna flip this arrow around. Okay. Hello from Finland. Hey, Harry, how's it going? Good to see you here. I don't know. I don't even think I ever met, but if you're ever in Canada, just hit me up. Always down for coffee or whatever. Talk about AI and stuff. Let me know in the chat what you're working on, Harry. Are you like an AI engineer? You working at a job or dabbling in AI? What are we trying to do? So right now, today, we're just trying to continue the conversation from yesterday, which is we're trying to find a way to put Cloud Code onto a virtual sandbox so that anybody can text it and then spin up one and then do things with it. Yeah. So as I was saying, this is the representation of our user. It's quite the user there. And then user will send a query to our app, something like maybe what's the how do I what does this repo do, or what are the components of this GitHub repo? And then it'll send that to our tool, and perhaps we can send that to our Discord, right? Discord bot. So far, we have agreed on a Discord bot. And then this Discord bot will then ask the user to, let's see. I wouldn't imagine that this thing would need to, there's got to be a way to control the cost. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a bunch of y'all, and y'all are going to run this, of course, I'll put my API key in the beginning, but it's going to rack up the bills. So I'm trying to think if I could find a way to keep track of perhaps sessions so that, or maybe by user ID, because I know, right? Because when when a user talk to a Discord bot, the message should be associated with some sort of a threat, right? And some sort of a user ID. So based on that, I can process these requests one by one separately. And based on the user ID, or preferably user ID, I could keep track of your API key. I'm not going to use it for anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that API key for Cloud Code. So what this bot will do is it'll, send a request back to the user. Discord bot ask user for Cloud API key if not available. And how is it going to be available? First time you give it to the bot, it will save it somewhere. So I'm assuming it's going to have to be some sort of database, very lightweight database with our Discord bot. Again, this is like literally a full stack application. It's like this is not in AI yet. This part so far, not AI yet. So our bot will have to ask the user, or bot will have to check whether the user had given a key before. So to make this clearer, I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to have the bot right here, and then I'm going to do this. Remove this block here, change this to a diamond, because we got to be UML appropriate, right? So we're going to do this. This is Anthropic API key available, right? We do this, and then we zoom out a little bit, and then if yes, then why can't I add this? I'm so confused. It wants me to add it, but then it can't. Anyways, change this to this. No, that's ugly. Change it back to this. Okay. If yes, then this is yes, by the way. Yes. then send users requests to agent. We're just gonna refer to our cloud code plus VM as an agent from now. And then if no, right? If no, oh my god, I'm clicking. It's not doing it, guys. Like that's actually crazy. Oh, you see that's how crazy that is? I do this arrow, and then I can't click here. I have to move my mouse all the way here to add it. And if I accidentally move over these shapes, I will add other shapes. So Figma, I know you guys just went public. Please fix this. Y'all got the money now. Okay, so we got no here, and then we'll ask user for Anthropic API key. And as we're asking for this, what we'll do is we'll essentially parse the message that the user sent to the bot, so that we can use regex, which by the way we'll use AI to write the regex. We'll use the regex to kind of parse the part of the API key and then save it to our database. Maybe not a database. So here's two things we can do. We can save it to the database, and then you guys can keep using it and not having to kind of like put in your key over and over. And then we only allow the same user to edit and modify keys. So for example, only allow like the user of current ID to modify their key and not other people with other ID. And we can manage that on Discord, on the Discord interface. The other thing is we can just ask for API key every single time, which is not ideal, right? But we can start with that. Yeah, because either way, it's gonna have to ask at least once, right? So once we got the API key, then we save it to DB actually. So save it to DB. Oh my god. Okay, I can never get used to this. Save key to DB and associate with current user Discord ID. Current Discord user ID. And we'll explore whether or not the Discord user ID is the right way to do this. And if not, we'll probably have to create almost like a system so that you guys can go onto this website. You sign up for an account, and then what the hell? What else? And since you guys are putting in your API key, I can't just make this like a public thread. It has to be like a bot that you DM in private, essentially. Yeah. Again, this is completely normal. This is how you plan products and walk through scenarios in your head. Usually, my thoughts are faster than I can write down things because I have ADHD. So sometimes I forget. I'd be like thinking 10 steps ahead, and I'm like talking about stuff 2 steps before, and I get super confused. But essentially, so we're at this stage right here. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. So save key to DB, associate with current user ID. I'm just gonna leave this part out because that's implementation detail. So we can either have, clerk, something like clerk, or we can have something like, Supabase auth, since we're gonna be using Supabase, potentially database. So yeah, we'll see about that. But save to DB, and then from DB we gonna use that to use API key to start agent. There we go. Hope that makes sense for everybody. Okay. So far, I'm gonna be more detailed here actually. So I'm gonna say like check whether user has associated API key from Anthropic. And then if they do, yep, send requests. If not, don't send. Essentially like this. Yeah. So far, so good. Let me know in the chat if this is confusing. It's not confusing in my head also. If you think this is confusing, let me know. So let's just recap. This is your user. We hate them. We love them. They pay for our product. Sometimes they don't. They demand a lot, especially for users. Users send in user query. It's gonna be as clear as possible because tomorrow I wake up, I won't remember anything. User query: what are the components of this GitHub repo? So this is just one example of what I would ask, and then link, perhaps, right? That's the fun part, because before we can spin up Cloud Code, we probably need another like regex parser to parse GitHub repo link. Or I guess we can just pass it all to Cloud and be like, here's the link, here's the user's message, just do your thing. I think that also works because Cloud Code can get clone. So, but like the VM spin up, we should do that by hand, obviously, like by code. This message here gets sent to our Discord bot. Here, let me make it less fat. Discord bot. I like emojis, so I'm gonna put an emoji in here. Come on, give me the emoji, robot. Why is it ugly on here? Come on, Figma. So the user send this to the Discord bot. We still have to figure out whether or not this is gonna be private or public, and whether or not other people can jump into the same thread and ask questions. We may not want that actually. So what could potentially happen is user can ask questions in a public thread, and then our program will check whether or not, essentially our Discord bot will check whether or not this particular user ID has a key with Anthropic, and then if they don't, then I guess you can click on a link and go and register for our app, and then paste in the key there, or like send the bot a private DM and then register there. Yeah, there's so many ways to do it. You can click on a link that says like, oh, click here to go register for our app. You go and register, you put in your Discord username, you put in your API key, and then it's like, oh, you are now registered. You go back, Discord board check whether user ID has it, and then you're off to the races. And other people can't use your key or talk to our agent with your key, because every message sent to Discord bot, there's a user ID associated with it. User can't manipulate that, obviously. Can they? I actually don't know. That's why we need to find out. Complexity. What's the shape of the request from a user in Discord to a Discord bot? And can one send a request using any Discord user ID or no? The user ID or user information of the requester. This payload is sent to the bot's endpoint via HTTPS, usually a post request. Regarding no, you cannot impersonate another user ID, send requests on behalf of them. The Discord API strictly authenticates requests via either a user's valid OAuth2 token in case of user accounts, or a bot token tied to the bot account. Bots cannot send requests as arbitrary users. So none of y'all can do this on behalf of other people, essentially. Attempting to force or use arbitrary user IDs to send requests unsupported would violate security. User requests to Discord bot come as structured interaction. Okay. Oh, I want to see this. Show me an example JSON. And then okay. So I think that my understanding is that the request coming from y'all over Discord to the Discord bot, there's an access token in it, and then by the time it hits the bot will be able to kind of like decrypt the token and get the user ID. So we don't have to do any of the user ID, validation. Discord did that for us. So essentially, we're using Discord as a way to manage our users. Okay, so it looks like this. ID, that's the ID of the request. I'm assuming application ID. User. Okay. It's like is there a access token or something associated with the request that then get decrypted, get user ID, or what? When a Discord bot receives a request from a user interaction, the request includes interaction token, but does not include an access token. Okay. Here's how it works in detail. Okay, gotta zoom in, lock in here. Interaction request payload from Discord contains user ID directly in the payload. Okay. This user ID is set and verified by Discord before the request reaches your bot. Okay, so as long as all the interactions to our platform, to our app, happens on Discord, I think everything will be all right. Because like the part between what you send to the Discord bot, and as long as it happens on Discord platform, everything can be verifiable that you are not impersonating. For security, your bot. Okay, so extraction token included in the request is a short-lived single-use token. Validates for about 15 minutes, allows your bot to respond to or follow up on that specific interaction. It's not an access token for user authentication. It cannot be used to fetch or decrypt users' detail. Its primary role is to authorize response or messages to interaction. So security, your bot must verify that incoming interaction request is genuine from Discord. By validating the request signature, this is, I guess, standard for bot building, I'm assuming. If you want to perform requests on behalf of user outside immediate actions, such as fetching users' details, making API calls, you need to use Discord's OAuth 2. So y'all will have to OAuth 2 to another service. So that service can use on behalf of you, make requests. Okay. Okay. Let me ask another thing. So can I manage the reason why I'm confident with asking Perplexity, whatever the model they're using, about this stuff is because Discord API and Discord development SDK has been around for a long time. So one can confidently ask questions and get good answers about stuff that came out a long time ago and hasn't changed a lot. But if you were to ask AI, especially out of the box AI models, about like even like Shatsian, you get like some weird answers. Or you ask about like stuff that just came out recently, like that doesn't work that well. But like stuff like this, like Slack API, like it does pretty well because it's been around for a long time, hasn't changed much. Can I manage conversation in a thread by user ID safely, even when multiple users are chatting in it? Threads are isolated subchannels. Okay. User association with messages. Yeah, we know that. Concurrency support, permissions and security, state management. So what we want, right? Let me just write that down real quick. What we want is we want to be able to let user tag the bot The bot knows who is talking to it by, I'm assuming, tags, by whoever tagged it. And we wanted to be able to also continue the conversation, right? So it's one thing to be able to tag it, say something, it verifies you, create a VM, and then you tag it again, and then the second message, and then it would do all that again, which means it's going to be very expensive, right? It's like if you send 10 messages about the same code base, it shouldn't be spinning up 10 sandboxes. It should be spinning up one sandbox, which lives for a while. And then every subsequent messages you send it, it should be able to refer to the same sandbox, unless specified that you want to do something else. Here's the fun part. So the sandbox, you can use one sandbox for multiple repos. One sandbox could be used for multiple repos, and Claude can manage messages history. The only thing we have to figure out is how do we make sure that we know the user is still talking about the same thing. So we can manage that by threads. But then what happens if other people jump into the same thread? That's when it gets a little bit tricky, right? Okay. Let's think through this real quick. This is the part that comes down here, right? Actually, no, it's the part that's like right here. So what we're saying is, Discord bot, you just, actually it comes back from like up here essentially. So let me just move this guy up here, right? Let us make this more sophisticated. So this is a simplistic view of what this guy is trying to do. Let me create another box here, and here I want to say, this is one use case, by the way. So user creates a user tags. We need a bot name. Let me know in the chat what name you want this bot to have. Yeah, let's see. I'll read the chat, but then y'all let me know what name you want it to be. I'm just gonna call this dev on the cloud, something like that. Dev on the cloud bot, and then your tags this guy. Let me just change this to an arrow here, and then we got an arrow up here. Gotta switch the arrow like back like this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So user tags this, and then say this. Say the user query. Hopefully this is super simple to understand. Okay. So user tag the bot and say, what are the components of this GitHub repo? And then link paste it. Right? What's going to happen is, what was I trying to do? Let me try and remember. So we were trying to figure out whether or not we allow the user to create a thread and then use that thread to manage the conversation about the same repo. Yes. So let's say this hits the Discord bot, and then I'm assuming before it checks for an API key, you should probably check whether or not the user whether or not this is part of a thread, potentially. If it's part of a thread, then it should check whether or not there's a sandbox that is already available, and if there is, then continue. Yeah, let's think this through real quick. This gets a little bit complicated here. So this hits the Discord bot, right? Discord bot, we have to figure out. Yeah, we don't do this yet. These two parts, we will connect them eventually, but we only think about the API key for Anthropic when we actually launch the agent. So as you move it down here, all this stuff is like code, and then we need a backend to check all this stuff. Probably serverless function on Supabase, an edge function of some kind. We'll see. But here, what we'll do is we'll have Discord bot checks whether or not it's in a thread, or we can check for API key first. Checking for API key is kind of like a stand-in for checking whether or not the user had registered with the application. And if the user has not registered with the application, then there's no point doing anything outside of that, right? So what we can do is we can connect these two again. And then I'm going to connect this. But instead of sending this to the agent, we're just going to say check whether, check if the message is part of a thread. And this actually should be a diamond. If you guys think this is getting a little bit complicated, I hope, I've always hoped that whenever I start a new project, that's not the case, but that's usually the case when you're trying to build something that is useful for people. Because then you start thinking about edge cases, and you're like, so many edge cases. But then the proper way to do this is actually not to build all edge cases, but just the golden path. So for it to work, and then once it starts working, then you can think about edge cases later, because there's a high chance that nobody's gonna fucking use this. So what's the point of building all the edge cases out if nobody's gonna use it, right? So check if the new message, the user message, user query, it's the same message because it's pydantic to Discord. Check if this is part of a thread, and then I'm gonna say, I would say like I'm gonna move this arrow up here so it's not confusing. Yeah, that's better. Because then it's like, yeah, we're not like branching out from here. You know what I mean? I move this up. I like things aesthetic. That's why. Okay, that looks much cleaner. Okay, and we have this. Check whether user has associated API key, and then and then check if the user message is part of a thread. If it is, I'm going to use this. So this is yes. If yes, then we have to essentially fetch all the messages from the thread, essentially. That's the fun part. The fun part is we just grab all the messages from the thread. We don't need a database to store all the messages, which is great. So include all messages from the current thread in messages history for our clock code. However, I don't know if there's a programmatic way to manage clock code's messages history. So let's take a look at that. Cloud code messages history. I mean, if we were to build our own agent with like, I don't know, LangChain or whatever, or build our own kind of like flow LLM call, then we can pass in a list of, messages, right? System message, user message, assistant message. But for Cloud Code, I'm not sure if we can manage that. Cloud Code stores conversation history locally in JSON-L. Typically in Claude projects, these files are organized by project and session ID. While this format is not user-friendly, tools like this and Spec Story can manage that. Okay. Okay. Cloud Code SDK. Let me see if they have that in the documentation. Multi-turn conversation. Okay. For multi-turn conversation, you can resume conversations, continue from the most recent session. Oh, see, this is what we need. Clock, continue. Okay. Here's the thing. We could. So there are two sides to managing states here, right? There's the clock code states, which lives in our virtual machine or sandbox. There's the thread ID state, which lives in our Discord, and that's it, right? So two sets of memories. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out if it's better to even manage the messages in the thread at all, because if all the messages in the thread are from a valid user, then they would have gone through to Claude, right? And then we would have been able to resume it or continue. And so we just pass continue to Claude, and we just like it'll continue the conversation, right? And if we need to jump back to a conversation in the past, which I don't think we should allow user to do because this complicates thing, because the code has already been changed and the code has already been written or read, and now we jump back in time without Git to like reverse the code. That's where like something like Claude is missing, which is that when you jump back in the conversation in the past, it does not like essentially like reverse the code changes. In Cursor though, it does. You have this thing called I think travel back in time or something. I don't know. Like whenever you click like roll back, it'll actually reverse all the code changes. And then if you jump forward, it will put those changes back. So in Claude, you had to like kind of use Git at the same time, and you had to like commit and all that. So I don't think we want to allow users to jump back and forth in time too much. Time travel is actually a real term. I think LangChain coined it or something. But time traveling is a thing. If you go to like LangGraph, time travel, you know what I'm talking about. It's very common in like editing software. So for example, code editor or writing tools. Yeah, time travel. Yeah, it's mostly for coding agents, IDE and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to do here is, I think the easiest thing to do is to just let Claude. Oh, it's my friend Leo. He said, "What the freak? I am streaming. Don't you see?" Okay. Shout out to my friend Leo. Full disclosure, I'm an investor at this company. They build AI agents, which is for sale. It's pretty cool. But we're talking about here. So Leo, if you're new here, shut the hell up. I'm trying to teach. But essentially, what is happening here is we're trying to build a Discord bot, and we're gonna launch from the Discord bot. We're gonna be able to launch a hitless Claude code instance in a sandbox. And now what we're trying to do is trying to figure out if we should manage the historical context in Discord thread or just using Claude on that VM. So what I'm trying to do is, so there's another downside to managing it in Claude on the sandbox, because the sandbox is gonna die. I don't think all the services that we've looked at so far have persistent sandbox. E2B persistent sandbox. I don't think they are. I mean, as far as I know, Vercel sandbox does not roll back. If it dies after 5 minutes, it's gone. Everything's gone. So for E2B sandbox persistence in beta, so I'm probably not going to use it. Yeah, so at most you spin up a sandbox, you have maybe 5 to 10 minutes to talk to your repo, and then that's it. I'm going to kill it. Why does persistence matter? So we're talking about conversations continuity here. So whenever one of our users on Discord start a conversation with this bot, which in turn spin up a sandbox and put clock code in it, if they send another message, we don't want it to spin up another sandbox, right? We want it to be able to continue talking about the same repo unless users specify otherwise. So we can, there are two options, obviously. We're in Discord, so we can manage that through our Discord thread, or we can manage that through this thing, multi-turn conversation using like continue here. And we've already written off the possibility of like time travel where you can allow user to resume stuff, because this shit's fucking confusing. Yeah, time travel gets a little bit convoluted because then if you let Cloud Code edit your files, you jump back in the conversation and now you lose context. It's not like Cursor where you roll back and you get like code reverse, and then you roll forward and you get code put back in. It doesn't work like that in Cloud Code. So the answer to this question is, do we want messages history to be managed in our Discord thread, or do you want to manage that in Cloud Code? I think it should be managed in Cloud Code, because if the sandbox dies, if the sandbox dies, it dies, and the messages history doesn't matter. So let's say sandbox dies in 5 minutes. User tries to continue the conversation about the same code base. What we'll say is we'll send back an automated Discord message from the bot saying, "Hey, sandbox died. Can you start the conversation from scratch? Would you like to start this conversation from scratch?" And then the user says, "I guess yes." Then it'll do that. But then how do we know that the conversation is a continuation of that, right? So I guess we need to kind of like manage it through a thread. Bro, why all my friends are here? I need to talk to strangers. Bro keeps talking about Sandbox dying. What about dying in Battlefield? Yeah, so you weren't there in Battlefield 6 last night, so you can't be talking shit about me right now. Me and the brothers were dying in the trenches. Okay, stop distracting me. I need to get my thinking onto the paper now. So let's not talk about like message history and historical context yet, because all we want to do is, as a first step, is to build this bot, start the sandbox. User send a query into to the bot. It starts the sandbox. It puts an instance of Cloud Code in there. That's all we're trying to do right now, as an MVP, right? And then maybe one of you guys can contribute and build the rest of it, hopefully. So I'm gonna not make this complicated, because I think I've made it too complicated so far. But so far, I think we're good. User send a message in, tag the bot. Bot checks whether the user has associated API key. We require a database for that. And then if not, user will have to maybe click on a website, goes in, put the key in. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Is there a way to like kind of I'm just curious. Let me see if I can find this. Is there a way to temporarily store some data about a Discord user when they're interacting with a bot without having a dedicated DB? Maybe Discord has some sort of things that is built in. Sometimes I forget. A Discord bot does not have any infrastructure, right? Like it has to live on like a server somewhere. So like a Heroku or like a Rails railway app, something. So if it's in memory, when do we clear it? And is it safe to store a bunch of people's API keys in memory? Let's see. So because like our server will be running, right? And then I guess we could potentially spin out like a Redis instance at the same time and store a bunch of stuff in there. But then like I'm trying to think is like how how safe is it? Like, can anyone just go in and see the keys, or like, it's gonna happen? You know what I mean? But this is like besides Discord now. This is like more on the infra for like the server that runs the bot. So yeah, what do you guys think? Not asking Josh. Josh says I was playing RL in Lebanon. In memory doesn't sound too bad. Unless the server restart, then you have to put in your key again. In-memory storage is volatile. It would be clean, and the bot shuts down or restart. This approach is good for in-session. For data that needs to persist longer term, survive restarts, a dedicated database, external storage. Memory use should be monitored if your bot manages large amount of temporary data to prevent excessive consumption. Okay. I don't mind database, to be honest. I think something like Superbase is fine, and will potentially like, scramble your API keys when you save it and decrypt it so that it's not like, strings. Like, have people save like strings in the database of their passwords? Like, that's obviously not great, right? Okay, let's go back here. Discord, check. I guess the thing I'm thinking about right now is, how does this part work? There has to be like a key management system here, right? So we have a couple options. We have, options for storing keys. We have in memory. We have Superbase DB database, and something like or no key persistence. That's also an option. Isn't there some session storage for short-lived context or cache if we need to survive restarts? I believe so. If you save it in a folder on the server, as opposed to in memory. So if you download a bunch of stuff into like a .temp folder on your server, if you restart a server, I'm guessing that's still alive. Let me just double check. If I save JSON onto the server in, let's say, like, we're just gonna pick fly.io, then the server restarts. Is that file persistent? It is not persistent across server restarts. Fly.io machines use ephemeral storage by default, meaning this file system reset clean. But you can use fly volumes. So when I was using fly.io, they have a add-on that you can buy storage, and then that's on top of the server storage that you have. And looking at this, seems like the server storage is not going to save anything. But if you buy a persistent volume, that volume will store stuff. And then if you need to read it, you have to SSH into it. So it's a little bit of a additional cost. So yes, you could absolutely do this. If you have an EC2 instance, I'm assuming it doesn't go away at all. About EC2, yeah, it should not go away if it's an EC2 because it's the same machine, right? Oh, again, depends on the storage you're using. Instant storage, ephemeral, and then elastic block store. Yeah, so if you use this, I'm assuming it's gonna be persistent. Also, this is also persistent. So if you're using EC2 to host your Discord bot, data store here persists to instance reboots, OS level restart. But if it's lost if the instance is stopped, terminated, or fails. So if you kill it, it's gone. If you restart the EC2 instance, it's still there. So it's cool. Yeah, great question. So EC2 obviously runs 24/7, just like a fly.io server. But yeah, you can definitely save it there. I think we could probably do that actually. It's a great choice. Let me see. So I need to get a flyo volume, and then I'm gonna have to save that there, and then can I just don't want to use flyo like EC2 and like railway and stuff like that. I wonder if I can use no. Can one host Discord bot on Vercel? You know, it's a traditional always on Discord bot. It's serverless. These okay. It's possible to create and deploy serverless Discord bot on Vercel. It's bound to Discord commands slash commands which requires. Can one do a Discord bot on serverless functions? I wonder why. Is it because it's like okay, so you can build a host Discord bot using serverless functions in stateless, event-driven manner rather than maintaining a continuous running process. Situation described typically persistent WebSocket. Yeah, I was gonna say WebSocket open listen event continuously. Same thing for Slack bots. When you use Slack SDK, it's a WebSocket wrapper. Runs constantly. That's why when you can see like when the bot is typing, because the connection is open the whole time. I don't need that honestly, but because it's expensive to run it 24/7. Serverless Discord bot avoids the need for always on hosting by only responding to HTTP interaction requests / commands sent by Discord via webhooks. But does it respond to messages? However, some real-time event types require persistent WebSocket permission connections like persistence updates or message listening outside of command events, so not supported. Okay, I guess we need to have a always on server for this. I want to move off of Flyo. I think I'm sick of that. I have so much trouble using it for a long time. They just like this like these weird quirks about like their settings. If you know in the comments like what's like the 2025 version of like Heroku and Railway, let me know. I'm down to try it. Let's see. Okay, so now we're back here. I'm gonna take Junja's actually recommended edition, which is like just save the damn thing onto the server and it'll be okay. So we just have like a JSON, right? Save it there, save the keys there, and then correlate that with the user ID. And then so far between Discord user and Discord bot, everything is authenticated and secure. Messages won't come through unless it's authenticated. So we know that whatever user ID that's coming out the other end, it's validated. So it's cool. And so far, I don't think there's a way to send requests on behalf of other people outside of Discord unless you OAuth to that. And so we're good. So actually, we're gonna go with this. On disk. So Railway app. Let's see if as a way to buy persistent storage, essentially. Deploying project, developer product. Does Railway app have persistent storage? Volumes. We just need like less than a gigabyte, essentially. Just need to store JSON. So the better question is, what's the most beginner-friendly, easiest way to host apps in 2025, like Heroku, Fly.io, Railway, etc. Looking for a new service that doesn't, because like whenever I do these things, especially in Python, I'm not gonna code in Python by the way. I'm gonna do TypeScript. Whenever I try to host anything like this, it takes longer than I would expected it, and I always drives me crazy and raises my blood pressure. So I don't want to do it, even with AI. 2025. Why is still Heroku here? Oh my god. Render, Hostinger, SiteGround, Bluehost, DreamHost. Put them all in a comparison table with pricing for persistent storage, support for Node Express. Is Node Express still like the way to do web server in 2025 with TypeScript? Or is there anything better? Let me look that up actually. What's the newest way to do web server with TypeScript other than Node Express? Bundino, Hono, Elijah, Nestage, SJS, Bundino. Okay. SJS continues to be structured. Fastify, Koa, Restify. Which one is most? I think we're back. I think my camera is glitching. I'm running all this stuff on a Mac Mini, guys. What's the most? Which one's the most lightweight? Got 2 minutes left. Come on. Most lightweight TypeScript. Oh no, and Elijah. Bernardino. No. Framework. Benchmark show Elijah Hono. Elijah JS and Hono are top contenders. I want to try this. Whatever this is. Never tried this in my life. Okay, TypeScript with end-to-end type safety, type integrity, exceptional developer, supercharged by Bun. All right. Okay. Our goal is to design ergonomic, sensible, productive framework. Does Bun support all Node packages? Because if it doesn't, then it can't. Okay, closely follows. Okay. Discord a SDK TypeScript. I just want to see if this works. Create your first spot in TypeScript. I hate this so much. Develop a portal. Set a project. Admins of Discord.js. Okay, let me see this. Does Bun support this? Okay. Using DJS, Discord.js with TypeScript and Bun. This error, Bun is in early stages. Just try using Node, but this was from 3 years ago. I'm down to try it. Let's do Bun. Okay, so we're gonna try using this. Let me just write this down. Bam. Okay. And then we're gonna get another card here. I'm gonna say stack Elijah JS Bun Discord JS. Where do we host this? I guess we gotta go back here, right? Got Heroku, free tier available, paid plan starts around $5 a month. I'm feeling generous, guys. I'm gonna pay for it. Don't worry about it. Y'all can play with this. You'll just have to pay for your own API key, that's all. Hobby, $5 a month. Persistent volume at 0.15 per gigabyte. So I'll just pay for like this much for volume. Persistent volume. Add-ons like Heroku Key, Value Store. Ooh, imagine per hour. Let's say like times 1,000. I don't know how to do math. It's 4 hours. Okay. I don't know how expensive this will be. That's what I'm trying to say. Can't do math. Resell. We're not gonna do this because we need WebSocket stuff, and then this cold start stuff too from like serverless. So I don't want to do that. Render, free tier available, pay plan, $7 a month. Okay. Okay. Which one supports Bun? All of them support Node and Python, obviously, but gotta use Bun. Has partial Bun support, relies on older Bun version by default. Okay. Natively support with that requiring Docker. Render. Easy. Easy choice. Render it is. Render. I want to see put in our table again. When did these companies start? I want to know which one is newer. This is the OG. Flyout 2016. Wow, it's almost 10 years. Render is really new, huh? Okay. Wanna bet our farm on a new and venture-backed company that will probably go away next year? I want to, because I like shiny things. Okay, Render it is. Bot hosted on Render. Yeah. Okay, I think we got a lot of stuff done today. We made some quick decisions about architecture, and we're gonna start on disk. Shout out, Junja for the idea. I wish I can give you like something, but if I'm a more professional streamer, I will figure out something. Maybe I'll send you swag or something. If y'all contribute, I'll send you swags. I have so much swags in my apartment from like AI companies. But yeah, so we need a task board. So what we're gonna do is, before we can build that, because I'm out of time now. Before we do that, what we'll do is I'm gonna add one here for me. Put a bunch of arrows around it, and then how do I spin this? I need to be able to spin this. How do I twist this? Okay, whatever. And then another arrow, real quick. So to-dos, create a GitHub project plus tasks board. Create some shapes from what we've decided so far. If you know what shapes are, it's like a part of the shape up methodology. It's like features. I'll talk about that next time. When I say next time, I mean tomorrow. Where we'll do this tomorrow, and y'all can start looking at this issues board on GitHub and pick things if you want. Feel free to put up PR. But yeah, we're gonna put Claude on a sandbox. That's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. If you just tune in, well, too bad. There's nothing left that I have for you. But tune in tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m. EST. If you want to hang out, hold on. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I know you're gonna leave. Don't leave yet. But let me send you this real quick. Give me 1 second. My computer is crazy slow. Let me send you this. This is this is my Discord. Join it. I'm always there, hanging out. I'll put stuff in there. You'll see me there ask me questions or talk about anything. And if you want to hang out and watch and look at this this Figma board that we just drew, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send it to you guys so anyone can view. And then yeah, let me just get the link for you real quick. Anyone can view. I wonder if I should do this, because then you'll see a whole bunch of cursors on it. So hold on, let's see if I do that on like incognito mode. Is it gonna like show a cursor? Because that would be horrible. Okay, so I'm here, and then there's a simulated cursor here. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, I'm not gonna send it to you guys because then once I jump into this, I'll see a whole bunch of cursors. And I know y'all gonna be like on here. So actually turn off anonymous cursor fig jam. See if I can do that. Turn off multiplayer cursor. Okay, so disable observe mode. Turn off observe mode. Okay. View multiplayer cursors, but this is not Figma. This is Fig Jam. View. Preferences, accessibility. Yeah, I'm not sharing it. If you want to see it, just tune in. By the end, I'll send it to everybody once we're done. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Peace.